Okay, hello. Today we'll talk about this interesting architect, Douglas Cardinal, and let's read a little bit about him. Douglas Joseph Cardinal was born on March 7th, and today is March 7th, 2023. Is a Canadian architect based in Ottawa, Ontario. His flowing architecture, marked with smooth curvilinear forms, is influenced by his Aboriginal heritage as well as European Expressionist architecture. His passion for unconventional forms and appreciation of nature and landscape were present in his life from a very young age, and consequently developed into the unique architectural style he has employed throughout his career. Cardinal is perhaps best known for his designs of the Canadian Museum of History in Gatineau, Quebec, 1989, and the National Museum of the American Indian in Washington, D.C. He is considered one of Canada's most influential contemporary Indigenous architects. I actually find problematic this form of putting it, because I think he's one of the best architects in Canada, regardless if he's indigenous or not. But you know, this kind of rather discriminatory assessment can still be found in the media. Born in Calgary, Alberta, to parents Joseph and Frances Cardinal, Douglas Cardinal is the oldest of 8 children. His father was a Siksika, Blackfoot, French and Ojibwe heritage, while his mother was of German, French and Mohawk Métis descent, so Native American Indian. His mother worked as a nurse and was well educated. Cardinal's parents met in 1926, and in the first half of the 20th century, women had very little status and rights. The patriarchal society did not recognize educated women like Francis Cardinal. However, his father's tribe's societal norms accepted a matrilineal culture where women are very respected and admired. Beautiful. These cultural ideas shaped Cardinal's upbringing and affected his worldview and relationship with his heritage. He has recalled that his mother told him at a young age, "You are going to be an architect." Here he is. Douglas Cardinal. Born in 1934 and raised in Blackfoot territory, Douglas Cardinal's architectural studies took him to Austin, Texas, where he achieved his degree and was first exposed to the civil rights and indigenous rights movement. Douglas then became a forerunner of philosophies of sustainability, green buildings, and ecologically designed community planning. His architecture springs from his observation of nature and its understanding that everything works seamlessly together. A very important word, together. Here he is, dressed as a Native American Indian. To be honest with you, is a much nicer and interesting way of dressing than with a black or gray suit and a burgundy tie, as the white man likes to dress. Now, this is his wife. I think she's of Spanish descent or from the Basque region of Spain, a screenwriter, a remarkable woman herself. So yes, she came from Basque, living in Ottawa in Canada. She was raised with strong was called traditional values that included learning ancient Basque belief systems and contemporary Catholicism. Idoia has a passion for understanding the source and adaptability of art and culture, which allows her to study the principles of such creative processes. Idoia is working and living with her Anishinaabe husband, the world-famous architect Douglas Cardinal, and she also has been instrumental in the visioning, planning, and executing of many indigenous and cultural projects. These include the Canadian Museum of History in Canada, the National Museum of the American Indian in Washington, DC, the Cree Cultural Institute and Village of Ouge-Bougamou in Quebec, un health center in Sioux Lookout, Vanabo Aboriginal Center, Health Center, the Oneida Casino Hotel, too bad he built such a thing himself, the Discovery Park in Tennessee, the National Museum of Ethnicity in Beijing, and the Victoria Island Cultural Center in Ottawa. She's also the owner of Douglas Cardinal Housing Corporation, which is an enterprise that delivers beautiful solid wood manufactured homes. Furthering the values of the Etxea, the house, Idoia continues her studies regarding the principles of matriarchy and the re-emergence of indigenous feminine power values in the 21st century. I also advocate matriarchy, and I hope it will happen better sooner than later if we want the maddening war in Ukraine to end. Some drawings of Douglas Cardinal. The spirit of creativity is in the center. A project for a building. This was built. We are going to talk more in detail about this work. This building might be that is his best building, as far as I know, from 1968. He was a young man at the time, St. Mary's Church, built by someone with indigenous roots, Native American roots, Native American Indian roots. Look at this. It's a church, but I think it's splendid. St. Mary's Church, 1968, in Red Deer, Alberta, in Canada. Not bad, Mr. Cardinal, not bad at all. Indeed, this church is like a womb, like a maternal uterus. And maybe this is the appropriate plan of a church, or more than plan, actually, the spatial reality of the building. In my opinion, is one of the most remarkable churches built in modernity. A school, 1975, the same place, Red Deer, Alberta. 60 years ago. Now you tell me, if a student, a kid, a child, studies in such a school, what kind of a person he might develop into? It changes you. This kind of architecture doesn't leave you indifferent, as opposed to a flat ceiling, white or gray. This is about togetherness. It's about people sharing a circular space, facing each other in a circle, the hexagon of the tables. Douglas Cardinal. Alberta Government Services, Ponoka, Alberta. A governmental building, maybe not so special, but even here he, arrived at some fluidities. And not everything is, in my opinion, beyond reproach. Like sometimes he uses certain levels of mundanity that to me are a little bit problematic, like some large surfaces of glass. I think he's very good with masonry walls, but when he uses, like you see here on the right, a curtain, a glass window, a very, rather commercial cardinal residence. That's his own house. Unfortunately, I expected him to build a smaller, more modest house, but it's very rare to come across a modest architect. The only modest thing here is this picnic table, or these two picnic tables in front of the building. But this, slanted glass ample surface, in my opinion, is problematic. And I see certain mannerisms here. I like the church, but when I see this, when I see his own house transformed into some kind of a, I mean, if you look at it, you'll say this is a not a very big, but a public building. It's not a public building, it's his own house. And I think it's excessive that, well, if it had, and I imagine is, I mean, there is a justification. Maybe it is south and he's warming up the house with the sunlight, but still somehow so much glass in a cold climate like Canada has. Um, I'm not sure it's so appropriate. Interesting, the flooring, where you see he introduces the you know the irregularities of land into the inner space of the house. He even brings a a swimming pool there, which I think is rather eccentric, and I don't know. I mean, he seems to be a modest man, but this house to me doesn't show too much modesty, to be honest with you. Canadian Museum of History. It is located in Hull, Quebec, directly across the Ottawa River from Canada's Parliament. A large building, so it's what can the Museum of History. These totems, these poles, totemic poles of the indigenous Native American Indians in Canada are formidable. I still think there is a side of his work which makes me a little bit uneasy. This some kind of a, I don't know, officialness, or I don't know how to call it, a certain mundanity. There is even a certain, commercialism somehow, which disturbs me a little. But anyway, it's important, I think, to know of him as well. A Civic Center, USA, 2004. He was a consultant for this architecture firm, CH2 Architecture. Not the most common civic center. That was all. It ended rather abruptly, and I apologize, but that was the presentation on Douglas Cardinal.